The LA Thieves stole it. They ran away all through the tournament. Another perfect grand finals. Your Major 3 champions, the LA Thieves.
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I'm your host, Borito, the #1 CDL ESPN analyst in the world on YouTube. I mean, that is the world, so everywhere. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, it'd really help me out. Not really much else to say. And also, guys, join the Burrito Bowl Discord. It is in the link in the description, or enter in BORI7O''S bowl. Join the community for ranked 8s if you want the latest updates on when I'm going to be streaming, all that stuff. That is the #1 place for everything Burrito on there. And just join the community. People have a good time in there, and like the late night channels and everything. It's a vibe, so it'd be a pleasure to have you guys over there as well. So I'm just going to do a little pre-Major 4 talking about the teams, talking about some of the games from the past weekend, some interesting notes and some aspects. Obviously, there's teams like LAG and Vegas not really going to bother talking about, because after this Major 4, they're basically chalked up until EWC, so they're just be taking a rest. And I do have to bring up, there is a roster lock. The roster lock is, I believe, May 14th. So by then, whatever your roster is, it's locked until EWC is over. So teams need to make sure these are the rosters that they want to have. I mean, obviously, as we look at the standings on the screen, LAT, FaZe, Ultra, Vancouver, I think even Carolina, Miami, all probably not making any changes. ROKKR not making any more changes. Boston not, even though they should, but we'll get into that. OpTic not, which means they're going to stick with this roster for the rest of the season. And EWC, Cloud9 just made a change. They brought in Capsule, not 100% confirmed, but pretty much confirmed. And then LAG and Falcons will probably make some roster changes. I mean, they only have 2 weeks, so they might just stick it out as well. They might just play at the roster for the rest of the season. So we're not going to be seeing that many roster changes for the rest of the season. A lot of people talking Merc, a lot of people talking at a lot of different things, but where should we start? I think I'm going to start at the top, actually. I think I'm going to start with LA Thieves. They just won Major #3 in Boca Raton, Florida, defeating Vancouver Surge 4-0 in the grand finals. I mean, I'm going to try to like zip through these teams and not talk so much, but every time I say that, it's always like 2 hours. I think that LA Thieves, obviously, right now are the best team in the game. They're the best in hardpoint. They're the best. They're not the best in S&D, but they're the best in hardpoint, the best in control. So like they're basically the best respawn team in the game. I do think this is no cope at all, because I'm not a fan of every team, but this is just from my POV. But it did happen to FaZe in Major 2. I think LA Thieves was very fortunate not to run into any of the true big dogs. I mean, Vancouver obviously is like a top 3 team right now, but I think LA Thieves is very fortunate, even with like a replacement Merc. I think they were very fortunate not to run into an Ultra or a FaZe, because although FaZe is terrible at hardpoint, those S&Ds and those controls could have been a little bit interesting. Not gonna lie. You know, anything could have happened there. So who knows what happened? I'm thinking, because if you think about like the first Major, Atlanta FaZe beat LAT twice. They reverse swept them in the winners final and then beat them 4-3 in the grand finals. Had some hardpoint mistakes there. Probably could have been like a 4-1 realistically, but it wasn't. But then LA Thieves, I mean, their matchup with Vancouver, they've been beating them every single time. Vancouver's best opportunity was in the winners final, where, I mean, I already gone over it. You're going to see this video because I'm recording this before the video drop. But by the time you see it, the video will be up before this one drops. But Vancouver with the swing mode, that's something they need to work on is control. They did get to play Hacienda. They beat Atlanta FaZe on it. Atlanta FaZe was the best Hacienda control. I mean, they still are the best Hacienda control team. Maybe it was an off day because then after that, they got 3-0'd at protocol control. Vancouver did. And then they lost vault control 3 times in a row. All 3-0. Didn't win a single round in vault control, which is absolutely criminal, if you ask me. Absolutely. There is no way you can't take at least 1 or 2 defenses in 3 different games. Like, it's absolutely absurd that you lost 3-0 in vault control, 0-9 round count. Didn't win a single round in 9 attempts is crazy to me. But it basically all came down to that swing mode, because if you talk about like the winners final, Vancouver goes up 2-0. They're in pole position, and then LA Thieves 3-0s them in the control. I for sure thought Vancouver was going to win 3-1 because LA Thieves have been banning protocol hardpoint pretty much 90% of the season. If not 95, it's probably even more than that. It has to be over 95%. I could even like go on the thing. They have vetoed protocol hardpoint 23 times. 23 times. And so I just want to, I mean, Vancouver's really good at that map too. A lot of teams didn't want to face Vancouver on protocol, even protocol S&D, because they're very aware of what Neptune could do on that map. But LA Thieves, clearly they were working on it. I mean, Vancouver did have the lead at some point. I may have to go down and break that game, but there's no point now because protocol is out of the rotation for hardpoint and Rewind is back in, which is another point we're going to bring up. So if you talk about making LA Thieves even stronger, dude, the pendulum swing in map, what's the word? The pendulum swing in map favorability has vastly swung in LA Thieves' favor. They take out Skyline S&D, Vault S&D, which are FaZe's best maps, and then they throw in Dealership and Rewind, which LA Thieves is actually not bad at. Granted, they got 6-1 against Vancouver in this one, but they came back the second time. And Dealership's a pretty 50-50 map, so it kind of like bounces out with every single person. So it's a map that honestly everybody could play, so it's actually not even, so it's not even really a weakness. So you basically made Atlanta FaZe weaker and forced them to play Hacienda S&D, which has been their auto ban basically the whole entire season, and now they have no choice but to get better at that map. And then they ban Rewind S&D. They don't want to play that, and that's LA Thieves is like, not gonna say their best map, but it's the map they always pick. And most of the time it ends up being map number 5, and we're seeing it right here where they 6-4'd Vancouver. So Vancouver should have won 3-1, didn't capitalize on the opportunity they had, and then they paid for it in the grand finals. Who knows if the grand finals would have been the same if they got the momentum and the confidence to beat LA Thieves here. They probably would have rode away with momentum. They would have had the control veto as well. So they probably would have banned like protocol. They probably would have banned protocol and made LA Thieves play Hacienda, which I think if LA Thieves could get some more confidence at Hacienda control, it's going to be hard for any team to touch them, because at that point they're going to be good at pretty much every single map or good enough at every single map, and they could afford to just like ban whatever the other team's good at and just square up on them on pretty much every single map. But as I talked about in the last YouTube video, control is a big thing for a lot of teams. It's a big thing that Vancouver needs to work on. It's the one thing stopping them from getting over the hump of being a top team in this game. Granted, they are like a top team already, but taking them over the hump to actually win championships, I think control is a big thing. Even in the minor tourney with LA Thieves was taking those controls. Those are That's a swing thing that it's only one time in a series, but it's very important. It could extend a series to a hard point map 4 pick that maybe you picked, or maybe like you won map 1 or map 2. That control could take you to the map number 5 that you need to. Like, that swing mode is very important. There's only 3 maps, and you only got to be good at 2 of them realistically. The only time you ever have to be good at the third one is in a grand finals if you come in from the loser side, but that's not really that big a deal. They just at least have to be good at 2 of the maps, and they like picking vault control because they allowed it so many times. But I think they should scrap vault control and get good at the other 2. That's what I think, because vault control is a map that Boston's good at, Miami's good at, ROKKR's good at, Carolina's good at, Vegas is good at. It's a map that a lot of teams are good at because it's a very one-dimensional, easy map to play. So why not get good at the other maps that a lot of the teams are scared to play at, and you'll have way more of an advantage. It just makes a lot more sense in my eyes to not have vault control in your bag. Like, LA Thieves is in an interesting spot where they're at least good at 2, and one of them still happens to be a map that everybody plays, but they're at least good at 2, so they can ban the third one and not really have to play it that often. But they're probably gonna, if I had to guess, they would get better at it or try to. I mean, it's not that bad of a map to play. I don't know why teams have auto vetoes like 8 months into the game. Like, I feel by now everyone should be pretty serviceable at every map. You should be able to like ban according to like the other team's strengths at this point, as opposed to your weaknesses. But that's a whole other story entirely. But yeah, LA Thieves is run to the if I could pull up the bracket here. Can I pull up a bracket? Yeah, they do have the bracket. So LA Thieves 3-0'd Carolina, 3-0'd Miami, and then beat Vancouver twice. You know, FaZe had this exact same thing at like the Major 2. Could I pull that one up? I'm actually gonna have to like find the team. I'm gonna have to like scroll a bit, so bear with me here. I'm gonna go all the way to Major 2, because FaZe had this at Major 2. They played ROKKR, Cloud9, and then they played like Vancouver twice. Basically had the exact same road to the finals that LA Thieves had, just significantly worse teams. Like ROKKR was a 3-0, Cloud9 they match up well against. They always 3-0 or 3-1 them, and then they had Vancouver twice. So basically the exact same as LAT, but the reason why there's no asterisk over this one is because in the first one, they beat Boston, they beat Ultra 3-0, they 3-0'd Boston and Ultra, and then they beat LA Thieves twice. So, I mean, like, they beat the best team in the game twice. So that's why there's no asterisk on that, and they beat Ultra in there at the time. Ultra was like a top team. Vancouver was not a top team at that time. Those are basically like the best other teams in the game, and they beat them both at the same major. So could be a little bit of an asterisk. Who knows if the tourney could have been different if Ultra had beans and then they beat Miami in the first round, and then LA Thieves had to play Ultra in the second round. Probably could have been an interesting game, and that would have sent LA Thieves down to the losers on Atlanta FaZe's side, which would have been very interesting. You know, there's so many what ifs. It's actually incredible how many what ifs there are. If like this would have happened, if the visa didn't happen. But even take a look at some of the statistics from Major 3. It's actually interesting. So Jodeci's had the most kills. I mean, it's kind of like an inflated stat because if you go through losers, you obviously have more kills. So Jodeci's went all the way through losers. So he had 507 kills, the most. CleanX second with 483. Merc third with 474. And Insight fourth. So basically all of Ultra were the top kills of the whole Major 3 tourney because they went through losers, obviously. And then KD wise, Hydra finishes Major 3 with a 1.27 in first, Scrap with a 1.22, in MC with a 1.12, Jodeci's a 1.12, and Simp with a 1.08. And then Slayer rating was not really anything crazy, and then the BP rating, but very interesting tourney. There was a lot of good talking points. I mean, Land Call of Duty is definitely the best. So who are we going to go to next? So I just want to just finish off with LA Thieves. So LA Thieves is clearly like the best team in the game. If anything, just touch up. Make sure your hardpoint stays where it is. Touch up on S&D and try to maybe get better at Hacienda control. And then a lot of teams are going to be pretty fucked when it comes to playing you. It's going to be automatic 3-0s. If they can somehow be good at all 3 controls, if they can maintain the level of vault and up their Proto and their Hacienda, I mean, they'll be untouchable if they could keep that and maintain like the same, and all the other. Maybe touch them on dealership, because dealership seems like a map that's gonna be played a lot, and they could just ban Protocol S&D until like the end of time. So LA Thieves literally never have to play that S&D map. They could just get good at the other ones. So they're in a pretty good spot. They have the least to work on, but I mean, obviously being a champion, your main thing is not getting complacent and getting overconfident that you got to win. It's maintaining that level, keeping your foot on the gas pedal, and making sure nobody gets near you. So I think LA Thieves is in a very good position. So with Vancouver, already talked about it already. They just need to get better control. Their S&D's in a good enough place. They have a deep enough S&D pool. Their hard points, good enough. It literally comes down to control. They got better at Skyline Hardpoint, which, as you saw over the weekend, very much helped their vetoes when it came to picking hardpoint maps and what the other team had to pick, because Vancouver got good at Skyline. So that's a good sign as well. But yeah, the control is like just not good and hasn't been good all season. Definitely something they got to work on. And it's pretty easy fixes. If they watch my YouTube video, I guarantee they'll get better. So who are we going to talk about next? Try to just go in order. Like usually I had like the completed matches up. But I'm actually going to I'm going to go through completed matches, and I'm just going to go through the list. So Ultra, I think Ultra is in a very good place. I think the fact that they got top 3 with Merc actually gives them even more confidence going back with Beans. So I think that's actually a good thing. And a lot of people saying, why are they not picking up Merc, this and that. You guys need to be realistic. This team is better with Beans, not just chemistry wise. Some people are probably going to argue Merc's a better player than Beans. I think that might be recency bias. Beans brings a lot more years of experience, a lot more chem with the 3. Like they have like a lot of chem inside and outside of the game. I know they know each other for years. And it's just been the person they've been playing with. And Beans is a big X factor in their S&D. He makes a lot of the shot calls, and something Ultra, not going to say was completely having issues with, but wasn't as good at this weekend compared to most, was their S&D. And I think Beans could have been a big factor. Obviously they picked somebody up and didn't have any scrims or practice, so they're basically going into every S&D. So it is an unfair point, but I think this roster is better with Beans. I personally would pick Beans over Merc, even if like the season hadn't started yet. Like even if we're just going from ground zero, like even if Beans was not on the team the whole year and I had to decide picking up Beans, picking up Merc, I think Beans just meshes way better with this team. They have a system, they have a way they want to play. Merc was able to slot into it, and I think Beans brings a lot more in the communication, which is also very big. I hear all like the comms when he's in there sounds way more fluid than when Merc's in there. Like obviously they just asked Merc to just probably do some certain thing, just fill in like a certain hole. So I mean, unfair comparison, but yeah, I'm not on the recency train that everyone's on, because a lot of the people in the Call of Duty community, just very reactionary takes. OpTic Merc, FaZe Merc, everyone's throwing out all these team names up. And hold on, let me take a sip of my water. And I know he did good, because some I'm actually going to say real quick. I'm like, this is the ultimate combo I could give Merc, because in this game specifically, not just because of how fast paced it is, even though it has a lot to do with it, just the way the game is structured in general. If one person in a team is not doing the right thing, or is messing up, or maybe there's some important gunfights to lose, all it takes is one person to make the whole team go down. And it's more prevalent in this game than it is in any other game. One person doing the wrong thing or just not doing anything will make the whole team suffer. This game punishes that more than any other game. So for Merc to slot in and for them to go top 3 means he was doing the job that was required of them, and he's doing it good enough. But eventually they met like Vancouver, who turn them into bitches on like their best hardpoint map. Skyline is Ultra's best hardpoint map, and Vancouver beat them 250 to 90. I mean, like, and even like the protocol, like that's Ultra's best map. They lost it 6-4. Obviously, Vancouver is also very good at that map, and then they lost by 1 point in the hardpoint vault. So quote unquote close series, but I do think with Beans they are better. Like, I'm not on every train at all. I think Beans is just, I mean, he's just more of a fit for this team. And Beans is, I mean, some people could argue that Merc has a higher ceiling, probably because he's younger. I think that's unfair as well. I mean, he's not even that much older than Beans in the first place. But I just think this team with Beans, I mean, it's just going to be way better. That's just my opinion. And in clutch moments, in like those deep moments, I would take Beans over Merc, to be honest. Merc still obviously has developing to do. He literally just played his first pro event, so it's no knock to him at all, but I just think they're way better with Ultra. And even like Aches, for example. Aches saying drop insight. I mean, I just made another video. Go check that one out as well. Like the insight one, why he's so important. That's just an opinion of people who don't actually watch the game and see what people are doing. Like, you don't drop insight. Like, Beans and Merc as the AR duo is insane. I think the whole structure and the philosophy of how Ultra plays hardpoint and control and their respawns all flows through what Jamie Insight does. And yes, another player could do that, but I mean, it's not gonna, like, they could do it, but they're not going to do it as good because Jamie's so used to doing that. He's been doing that for years and years now, to the point where he knows what his role is, and that's the role he likes to do, and he does it better than pretty much almost everyone else. He could make a 10-10 hardpoint scoreline look like the most useful 10-10 you ever seen. He could have like 12 kills. People want to see him at 30, but he was the reason. Like, Ultra beat Miami 250 to like 150, like beat him by 100 and something points on Red Card Hardpoint, which is one of Miami's best maps. A map they took OpTic to the distance. Granted, OpTic sucks. FaZe to the distance. They took in a lot of teams to the distance, beat a lot of teams on that map. They're like a top 3 team at that map, top 4 team, top 3 team. And Ultra have been vetoing Red Card all year, and they played against Miami, who's a top team at it, and beat them by over 100 points. That all comes down to insight. If you haven't watched that video, go watch that video. You'll basically know everything you need to learn about insight. Like, trying to make roster decisions just based off of, oh yeah, you think this guy could shoot better, he's younger, he's more cracked, like whatever. I think that's kind of dumb. I mean, obviously there's some instances, like maybe like in the instance of like a person like Attach, may ring some more bells, but in this scenario, yeah, no. I'm even surprised Ultra has him on the bench. I mean, business-wise, to maybe get some monetary gain off of it, I can't argue that. But otherwise, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, unless they feel maybe a visa issue might happen, that would be a perfect fallback. Because then you have him on the bench in case any sort of visa thing. Because you have 3 players from like the EU on the team. So, I mean, anything can happen. And he'll be right there and can slot in. Already played with them, and he's going to carry his weight. So it is good in like that sense, honestly. And he's on the bench and he's competing in challengers. And apparently there weren't that many offers for him anyway. I'm not an insider of that stuff. I just pretty much see the same news as you guys. I may have 1 or 2 people in my DMs that may know some stuff, that may feed me some information from time to time, but it's nothing. It's nothing on the level of like Ronnie, like unless they somehow know Ronnie or a person that knows Ronnie or anything like that, but I don't know. But yeah, Ultra's in a good spot. Curious to see how they do in this qualifier. I mean, if anything they'd have to touch up on, it would be control. Yeah, they 3-0'd Vancouver at it, but Vancouver's not really a team that they should be celebrating beating at control because they're pretty ass. Their hardpoint and the way they play hardpoint on these maps is something beautiful to watch. Like that Red Card, I mean, that YouTube video I made, man, just going back and seeing that Red Card and how they work together to break P5, like I do not see that many teams going at it like that. I see a lot of teams running in one by one. They're very organized and very coordinated on their breaks and their holds. I mean, their holds actually aren't as good, but They are on certain maps, like fuck Protocol, which isn't a map anymore. And some might even say about Rewind, actually. Taking out Protocol, which was LA Thieves' auto ban hardpoint, and throwing in Rewind, which is their best hardpoint map, just makes LA Thieves even more untouchable, which is insane. And yeah, when it comes to Ultra, I mean, now they gotta get a Rewind hardpoint. I forgot how good they were at that map. That map was such a long time ago. I forgot. I'm gonna wipe all opinions I have on that map because everyone's basically not scrimmed it for months, and now they're scrimming it again. So basically, everyone's starting from ground zero again. Maybe teams like LA Thieves and teams that were good at it might have like a little bit of a bump on the rest. But yeah, I mean, Ultra just have to clean up their control. Their S&D is pretty good, and then maintain the levels in their hardpoint. Just a lot of teams have to work on control. Like, control seems to be like a thing, you know? Seems to be a thing. But there is like a level of hardpoint they're going to have to play when they get to a team like LA Thieves. Because granted, they did beat LA Thieves like last time. I mean, I actually forgot. Let me see what maps they took in that series. I completely forgot by now. Take a look at that picture of Merc on there. So it's like they beat LA Thieves 3-2 in the qualifiers. Did they beat him on a hard point? Okay, they beat him on Hossie and they beat him on Sky. Yeah, okay, well, that's their best map. Okay. But yeah, basically, I mean, I would actually be in control, honestly. Their Hacienda, I mean, this is an online qualifier match, but their Hacienda does not look good like before this match. Like, they're able to beat LA Thieves on it, but I mean, I actually forgot to go watch that map back because I thought that map was brilliant. Like, I was actually watching it and I thought it was not that bad. I watched like half of it and I was like, this is like really good stuff. I watched like the P1, like the P2, the P3, the P4 on like the second rotation. Didn't think it was that bad. But if Ultra touch up on their control, I mean, they have to do more than touch up on control. They need to get way better control and maintain the levels in their hardpoint and S&D. Like, same thing as Vancouver. They're basically in the same boat as like Vancouver, honestly, when it comes to that. If they touch up on control and like they could play you on more than just Vault, if they could play you on Protocol and Hossie, I mean, this Ultra team is gonna look crazy. I feel a map like Hacienda would fit perfectly to like just the way that they play. Like, they play very organized Call of Duty, very fundamentally strong Call of Duty. Like, they make these random games look as normal as possible. They make them look like normal Call of Duties, honestly, with like the way they play. So, I mean, I'm sure they will probably bounce back on that one. But who's the next team we should go to? We should go to, I'm gonna go to Atlanta FaZe after. I want to touch upon Boston because I have a point on my head that I want to bring up. Not gonna spend too much time on Boston, but Boston not making a roster change is gonna prove to be so detrimental. Like, they have peaks and valleys where they go high and they're like on a wave, and then they go right back down to reality, and then they go up and then they go right back down to reality. I think they needed to make an AR change, if not both, a long time ago. I know they have a lot of chem. I know this is like their challengers team from like last season that they stuck with and they played the whole time. But now, I mean, they are making champs, so maybe they're just thinking to stick out the rest of the year. Like, we made it this far. We already have basically a champs position solidified. Like, the champs race basically is coming down to OpTic and ROKKR. It's a two-man race now for like the 8th spot. I think everything else is already like decided. All comes down to ROKKR and OpTic. Cloud9 would have to do some miracles in order to get in that spot. But with the addition of Cal, I mean, we'll actually get to that in a bit. But Boston not making any changes, I think, is going to prove to be detrimental. I mean, they're not going to... I mean, dude, like, they're able to make, like, some, like, runs to, like, a Saturday, but then after that, it just falls off a cliff. And the point I wanted to make is Purge. So, Purge, I mean, you guys saw the YouTube video I made, like, 3 days ago. If you haven't, go watch that as well. There's so many YouTube videos being freaking referenced here. But I think that Purge has the potential to be a very big player in the future, just mentality-wise and also gameplay-wise. His gameplay is very inconsistent, and he's not the player that's always going to drop like 40, you know. He's not going to be like that superstar player, but I think he's going to be a very high-level intellectual sub-player. My only con is that if he gets to that level, his head might be a little bit too big. I feel like his head might be a little bit too big and it might overcome him. I'm not sure if that's just me, but I do appreciate how he was able to completely change my opinion about him. I had no hope for this guy. I was rubbed the wrong way for some reason when he denied Clay in MW3. Didn't want to play with Clay. He thought he was bad. He's like, I don't want to fucking team with you. Like, you're dog shit. I mean, I have to tip him for that. That is pretty respectable. But I was like, who is this guy think he is to be doing that? And then he goes on to have the year he has in MW3, like all-time low KDs. But, his role in the team was allowing the team to win a lot of games. So a lot of teams were noticing that. Then he ends up on this Boston team. Goes back down to challengers, and next thing you know, he's in the league, and he's sort of like a leader in this team. And a lot of the times, he's calling out his team on like all the bad plays they're making, and just seeing his personality and how he talks. I think, dude, this is like my take right here. This is my take. This is what I'm interested in. If Kenny somehow doesn't get on a top team next year, I'm not sure if he actually will, because I don't think he'll go back to OpTic, not going on FaZe. Most likely won't go on Ultra, won't go on LAT. Like, I think Kenny and Purge have to find each other. I think just personality-wise and how they would want to play the game would be very similar. I think they would get along in and out of the game. I think they could be a duo to look out for. And on my thing, on like my rankings back when Kenny like left OpTic or got dropped, whatever terminology you want to use, I put Boston as like the number 2, I believe. It was like number 2 or number 3. I think it was number 2. Had him as number 2. And now that I look at it even more, I think Kenny in this Boston team probably would have been way better than ROKKR at this point. I may be eating my words, because ROKKR just has like a choke factor that they're just not getting over, man. And I feel like in this team, Snoopy is a lot more clutch. Purge is a lot more clutch. You get a lot more consistent plays than you do on the ROKKR side. But Boston does make a lot of mistakes, but they make less than ROKKR, I feel. I do think Kenny and Purge should find each other, though. I think that would be a very good duo. Like, just personality-wise, I hope this clip finds its way to them at some point. I never thought I'd even be putting Purge and Kenny in the same sentence like that ever. I never thought I'd be doing that. But I think Kenny and Purge would actually mesh very well together. And then you throw like a superstar SMG and then a good main AR, dude, you could have a team there, bro. You could have a team. Even if they keep Snoopy, even if just Kenny goes to Boston and they drop both the ARs and pick up Kenny and like another good main AR. I don't know who would be available at the time, but whoever is, I mean, that could be a really, really, really good team. Like, I don't even want to say it, but like, actually, I can't even say it. I was going to say Dante, but that just... Dante, I mean, like, we're going to get to that guy. We're going to get to that guy in a bit. But yeah, I feel like Kenny and Purge would be very interesting. That's something to look out for in the future. I actually might speak that into existence. So Vancouver, Ultra. God, I've been talking about OpTic forever, bro. I'm not sure if I want to. But I'll talk about OpTic and ROKKR at the exact same time. So when it comes to the Pro League standings, got to take another drink of water for a sec. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little yapping all by myself. Yo, guys. Today's episode of Borito Talk is sponsored by me. Today's episode of Borito Talk is sponsored by the Borito Takeover YouTube membership, the best membership on all of YouTube. For just $4.99 Canadian, you unlock a bunch of extra behind the scenes, extra breakdowns, extra analysis from yours truly, Borito. A lot of extra content that you will not get on any other YouTube channel for their memberships. Not trying to compare or anything, but it is the best YouTube membership. If you're interested in extra content, extra chill nights, watching breakdowns, analysis, so much good stuff in the archives and so much more on the way from yours truly, Borito. So hit the join button. Join, support the Borito Takeover on my road on my road to full-time content. This episode of Burrito Talk is sponsored by the Burrito Takeover YouTube membership. Now back to the podcast. So when it comes to OpTic Texas, a lot of people are wondering why they didn't make a roster change and everything. I am in the minority. I actually don't mind that they didn't make a roster change. I know they lost. I know they got 3-0 by Boston. They beat Vegas, and then they got 3-0 by Atlanta FaZe. But the game with Atlanta FaZe was a lot closer than you probably would have thought. And watching that Atlanta FaZe game, granted, Atlanta FaZe not in their best form at the moment, and I think it's like some sort of a matchup thing that like just invokes close fucking games. Like they had a 6-5 red card and a 3-2 protocol control. The Hacienda was a lot more of a gap, which just proves like the Hacienda that they played on the online qualifiers was a little bit different, not gonna lie. But that OpTic game with FaZe showed me they got some life in them. It showed me that they're capable of getting to a certain level, but they're just mistakes away from being a top 4 team again. They're just small discipline and teamwork things. And Hater and I drink OpTic tears for fun, and this YouTube channel was built off of the tears of OpTic fans, okay? It was the tears of OpTic fans that built this channel for me. It all started in MW3 when they're getting sloshed in the Major 4 qualifiers, and I started making those videos of how are they losing to Miami. That started to gain traction. That's when I went from like 20 views to like 2,000 views, like off of those. So my channel's built off of OpTic tears, so I'll never not make OpTic fans like the non-intellectual ones, by the way. Like there's normal OpTic fans that are like cool and understanding, hopeful of their team, supportive of their team. Then there's like the dumb, low IQ, brain rot, drop this guy, drop that guy, pick up that guy because he had had a good game, had a good map, you know, that type of shit. I don't like that. I think this OpTic team, even with the players that they have, this is an unpopular opinion because I never heard anyone say it. I'm probably the only one saying this. This team, dude, I had high hopes for this team in the offseason, and granted, there's like a 2-person difference, 2-person change, but I think this team, the way it is now with Skies, Dashy, Hook, and Shotzi, I still believe they're capable of going head-to-head with LA Thieves if they don't fucking troll. I feel like they're there. They just need a fucking system, bro. They just need a system with this personnel. If they could just and that's why I would coach this team for free, bro. I swear to God, I would help them for free. I would put overtime hours in just helping these guys get better because I know, dude, just seeing the way they play. I know they lost 6-0 to Boston in the S&D, and you know, I know they got 3-0'd, but bro, these losses that they had this major opened my eyes. Like, they weren't as bad of losses as you might have thought. I mean, like, the chokes were really bad. I'm not going to lie. And that's, like, what it stems from. It's the chokes. And the chokes are stemmed from communication and teamwork issues. I know there's a lot of personnel issues, personal. I'm not talking about animosity, but certain players just can't evolve. Certain players just are not learning. Certain players know there's an issue, but they're not tackling what the issue is. And this team is some discipline and some teamwork and some communication and some teamwork away from being a top team in this game. I wholeheartedly believe it in my heart of hearts. And this is coming from the #1 OpTic hate watch, okay? But like, I know what I see, and I know this team is capable of something. I'm seeing it, bro. I'm seeing it. I'm just seeing it, but it's just like, man, they just will never learn. They're just doing the same things over again. I thought the red card map 1 was a masterful pick, man, and they could have won. Boston didn't even want to win that red card hard point, but OpTic was trolling over and over again, doing the same things that made them lose that map with the different iterations of the team. Like, it was right there for them. They could have won that map. The momentum of map number 2 could have swung. They would have won that. They could have beat Boston in the 3-2. They trolled that OT round. They trolled some rounds in there. They probably could have won 3-0, 3-1 in that Boston series, you know? very, very possible, and they would have faced Vancouver, which would have been an interesting game. Like, OpTic has the potential with the roster they have. I don't even think they need to make a roster change. That's just me. I know it sounds crazy because if we pull up the statistics, they would prove me otherwise. Like, Skies is not having a good time right now. A 70 Slayer rating on a 0.85 is not helpful at all to the team. An 0.85 in hardpoint is not good. And having a kills per 10 significantly less and your team's just not fucking winning. And, you know, I mean, he obviously has, like, the most OBJ on the team, which is good, which basically shows what his role is in that team. But even in SD control, he's just not good at any mode right now. But I feel like that a lot of that comes down to how the team's playing, because I know firsthand how it is. I know the difference, what it feels like playing with, like, a team that's organized and has a thought process to what they're doing, and everyone's playing off what everyone else is doing, as opposed to having people running off and doing things for themselves, and you have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and you just have no idea what's going on. There's lanes left open, you're getting shot from this side, you thought this was covered, but that person's over there. You fucking thought you were doing this, but that person's doing that. You're telling a person to rotate, they're going hidden old, and then you're getting left in this situation over here. Like, all that stuff could amount to this KD. Like, realistically, like, unless you played, dude, even if you played it, even in a ranked game, you could fucking tell. You could tell in a ranked game when people are not doing the right shit, how hard that game feels. You're playing against, like the other team's fucking shit. Why am I losing? Like, it's because people aren't doing the right thing. Like, everyone has experienced it, but some of you just may not know it yet, but you have. And it all comes down to what the people around you are doing. In this game, more than any other thing, if somebody's not doing the right thing, the game is going to feel hard no matter who you're playing. The game will feel so much harder, and you will not do as good. And I think this OpTic team, I mean, you got fucking JP, dude. JP with the tweets. Time to lock in, dude. Oh, my God. I'm going to open up this tweet right here. This is my favorite. This is my favorite right here. Oh my God, did you take it away? Okay, no, he didn't. He says, tired of being the Scrim Stars. Let down event from us again. Need to adapt and produce when it matters. Locked in for the final stretch. You weren't locked in the whole time? You're just locking in now? It was unlocked the whole time? Yo, is that my boy Cario? Tired of having a coach with no voice. Yo, is this my boy Cario? Or what? I'm not sure if this is my boy Cario. That actually could be. I don't know. Dude, that might be my boy Cario. I don't know. That actually may be my mod. Bro, I was tired of having a coach with no voice. Dude. Hey, dude. These coaches on OpTic, dude, they need to work some miracles, because in most teams, maybe the coaches don't play as much of a significant role when, like, it comes to, like, really hammering things down, because other people are probably more susceptible to actually learning than the players on OpTic. But I don't care if fucking Dashy has a thing where he doesn't want to take advice from people that don't play. You need to build a bridge and get over that stupid fucking mindset. That whole mindset of, oh, you haven't played, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, is fucking shit. That shit is shit. That is fucking cope. That's like ego. Oh, you haven't played, you don't know what it feels. Shut the fuck up. Some people, sometimes the person with the most knowledge is the person that can see the whole board. When you're on the map and you're in the war, but there's a person that has an outside view and can see everything, sometimes that person might have the most valuable opinion. And, dude, they need to lock in. They need to lock in, like JP said. But I know there's a good team in there, man. But if I keep seeing the same mistakes, I mean, I already have, like, I'm pretty low on the hope, but I'm actually still hopeful. I know they could turn around with the team they have. Fuck OpTic Merc. Guys, not happening. Brain rot opinion. Brain fucking rot opinion. I talked about it already in a video. Brain rot opinion. You can't just say someone's shooting. I know, like, people like Parasite on the flank were like, you know, if they're going to play the way that they play, where it's a lot more reckless, might as well get a person that shoots. No. That will not get you anywhere against the Vancouvers, the LATs, even like the Atlanta phases, that won't get you that far. If you just have 4 people, fuck it. If they're running around, just get another person that shoots. Because I know Skies is capable of fucking shooting his gun and shooting it very well. That's not the issue. He's trying to play some right Call of Duty, but he's in a shit position. He does need to play better though, regardless. But I know how hard it could be when teammates aren't doing the right thing and you're just looking like shit. It happened to Kenny, for fuck's sakes. It literally happened to Kenny. And Kenny went from a 0.84 to a 0.98. You know, that's a significant difference. And with like a lot less better of a team, like skill wise. But I think OpTic's very capable. All comes down to if they're learning from their fucking mistakes. If I see them doing the same shit and they're not learning, they're going to be in the same hole. I'll never talk about them again. But I know there's a team in there somewhere. And this is the time to make it happen. Them and ROKKR have the exact same schedule, but one game different. ROKKR plays Vegas and OpTic plays Boston, but otherwise they both play LAG, Ultra, Carolina, and Vancouver in obviously different orders because they can't play the same team on the same day. But they basically have the exact same schedule, except ROKKR has an easier game with the Falcons. OpTic have Boston that they have to run into, who's significantly better online. In terms of the standings, I mean, OpTic's 30 points ahead of ROKKR. ROKKR does basically need to win all their games. ROKKR needs to win at least 4, minimum 3. If they can win 3 and make the winners at least, they're in a pretty good position to go from there. But realistically, they need to at least go fucking 4-1 to have a chance. Because OpTic's at least going to win like the LAG game. Like OpTic should win they should win the LAG game. They should win most likely the Carolina game. The Boston, the Ultra, and the Vancouver are up in the air. But they should win minimum 2 of those games. If they win 3, that puts them in a way better position. And ROKKR, they should beat LAG. Honestly, even though like this Vegas roster is better, they should beat Vegas. Like 100% they should beat them. And that should be 2-0. They should beat Carolina. Like they should have beaten them before, but Carolina's probably going to get better now they have actual time to scrim now. But who knows what version of Carolina we're going to see. But I'm not sure I'll even talk about them. And then Ultra, I'm so sorry for sniffling too. I actually might just take an intermission and blow my nose because whenever you talk, like whatever. But ROKKR should win 3 of those games minimum, at least 3. Should win Vegas, LAG, and Carolina. Even if Carolina does get better, they should beat Carolina still. Like if they think they're as good of a team as they do think they are, they should beat Carolina. LAG and Vegas, they shouldn't even have a sweat on, but who knows? Those games may be a lot closer. And then Ultra, Vancouver, if you're able to come close and actually beat those teams, maybe those teams decide to like maybe test a map pool on you and you're able to sneak out a win, even better, bro. But they need some wins. They need minimum 3. Like that is the bare minimum required. Not even 2 will be good enough. They need 3 wins, bare minimum. ROKKR, they need to get to the winners. If they don't, it's over. OpTic already made it. I do think OpTic's already going to make it. I think ROKKR's not going to make champs. I think they're just going to be playing for EWC, but obviously they're going to still try. But I'm just saying OpTic's guaranteed at least 2. That's going to put them at 165, and then if they make losers and they're not in winners, that's ROKKR's chance to catch up. So I mean, but yeah, this ROKKR team just needs to clutch up a lot more. I mean, like they just choke a lot of games. Their hard point needs to improve. S&D needs to improve. Control, basically everything needs to improve. That's all I could really say about that roster. Not even going to get too deep on that. Pretty lackluster. I had high hopes. I gassed the fuck out of them. My expectations for this team was high, but I did say give it a month. But I think it's actually it hasn't even been a month yet, because like that month started at like the qualifiers. So this next qualifier will be if I'm actually right or if I'm actually, I mean, not really eat my words, but I said give them a month and then we'll see like the real version of them. And now they've had their month now. They've even got like the land reps now. So if they're still dog shit, then I made a mistake and Kenny should have went to Boston instead. But Boston was not going to make a change anyway at the time, and I don't think they would even paid for him anyway. So that's another thing entirely. My final thoughts on ROKKR are I feel like a lot of their losses are also due to scams from all the individual players, mostly the other three, and not, I think Kenny, it was like one time, but it was like not even that crazy. But if they're able to just clean up on the mistakes that they make, and everyone's talking about like the inconsistency of Nero and everything, I mean, even just look at the statistics. He has the highest Slayer rating on the team. He's 0.98, but he has the highest engagements. He runs it down. The highest damage, basically up there for the most OBJ per 10, succeeds the most engagements. Could be a little bit more consistent in the slaying, but I mean, when you're running around that much and constantly engaging, like your KD might take a hit. And I mean, there are some bad series that he had. I know he is the X factor, and everyone's looking at him like you don't drop Estral, you don't drop Gio, you don't drop Kenny. He's like the odd man out. But I don't think you drop Nero because his ceiling is ridiculously high. Like, when you talk about, like, those players, like, the reason why, like, a person like Dante is not being dropped even after getting an 0.74 is because people see what he's actually capable of. Like, a Dante at his highest level, like, playing on his best day, could gun every single person in the league. He could gun all of LAT, all of, like, Atlanta FaZe, every single person. He could gun them all on his best day. But how often is his best day? Probably not that often. But same thing I would actually say with Nero. Like, on his best day, bro, that guy could actually take over and do damage. And he actually is, like, a smart player, but there are, like, some small kinks that they need to fix. They should be, like, this team should feel like Jurgen Klopp's, like, 2018 fucking Liverpool, bro. Like, they should just play rock and roll fuck Call of Duty. Like, just everybody banging together. Pause. Everyone just hitting shit together. Like, just coordinate. Everyone playing together. Everyone watching. Everyone's like, that's how this team should play. And I feel like they'll find like a lot of success. But obviously, they still have to work on their S&D. In S&D, I think they just scam a lot. They need to be a lot more decisive in their S&D. There's like sometimes it just looks like they're tweaky. And obviously, like most other teams, their control also needs to get better. Their control map pool doesn't exceed, like, they're not that, I mean, they're decent at Hacienda, but I mean, last time I watched them play Hacienda control, it was a nightmare to watch. Probably the worst Hacienda control I ever watched in an online qualifier. And then protocol, they're not really playing that. And then the only map they're good at or play is Vault. I mean, I can even pull up their record. They're 7-4 at Vault control. They're 5-10 at protocol and 2-2 at Hasi. Need to get better at control. You can't just be depending on S&D and hardpoint all year. You need to get good at the swing mode, where like 8 months into the game, not even 8 months, but I mean, you know what I mean. We're basically 8 months. The game came out in October. Okay, the game came out in October. We're, a long time, half a year into the game, bro. We need to get good at these maps. There's no use having weak maps this deep in, and a lot of teams have to work on control, and I don't understand, because control to me is like the easiest thing to play. The spawns are obviously very predictable because it's not like hardpoint where every hill switches, so you have to control different spawn points according to the hill. Control is very basic. Like, if you push past a certain point, if you block one side, they spawn on the other. You're pushed up, they spawn super, like, it's very easy to manipulate spawns and know where people are coming from off spawn. It's nothing like hardpoint, so it's just very simple game mode that a lot of people haven't grasped, and I actually don't know why. It actually blows my mind, because personally, me just playing, I think Control's my favorite game mode, because it's like the easiest game mode like to play. Honestly, it's just so simple to me, like, to play fucking Control, and I don't know why like, go watch how LA Thieves plays Control and get good at that. Watch LAT on Vault and sort of watch their protocol, but then watch LAT on Vault and protocol, watch Atlanta FaZe on protocol and Hacienda. That's all these teams need to do. Just study how these other teams are playing and use that to get good at it. Can't be that hard. Implement what they're doing. Add your own twist, like, you know, just add like the Minnesota twist, you know, do something. So yeah, that's them in OpTic. We already covered Ultra. I'm not gonna talk about Vegas. Who cares? Quick thoughts on Miami. Miami, I mean, I'm gonna say they proved me wrong like this weekend. Like, this 4 is actually very, very impressive. And obviously, you could say the outlier would be Metals. I'm taking another sip of my water. You could say if they had a weak link, it would be Metals. Like, dude, if they had an NA superstar SMG who could just like bang shit, bro, this team might be like S tier, bro. This team might be S tier. But the thing that really impressed me about Miami this weekend, I mean, I know they always had it. That's why in like my preseason rankings, I put them in the B tier. Is I knew that their teamwork would be able to carry them in this game. And now we're seeing it even more prevalent, having a way better AR than Lucky, no offense, but like he is by a long shot. But having a better AR and maintaining the teamwork in this system that they play with, I think is just super. This is super. You now got 2 good ARs, an individual playmaking SMG who takes a lot of pinches and routes, and then you have like the guy Metals who's super aggressive, and they do a great job of complementing each other. This team does a great job of knowing, like, they time, like, this has to be something that they work on, because the way Real pinches, like when it comes to hardpoint, even S&D, like every game mode, the way he pinches and the routes he takes have to be like coordinated with the rest of the team, as opposed to when I see a person like Shotzzy do it. I'm so sorry, gotta talk about Shotzzy again. The way I see Shotzzy do it looks like he's just fucking doing it as like a side quest, not saying anything, no one knows anything about it. He's just fucking doing shit. People are fucking figuring it out as it's happening. The way I see Miami do it is like, it looks like they are set up for when Real's doing this and that, and they know what they're doing. Like, they have a game plan for these types of scenarios, and their teamwork carried them this far. And if their goal was to just be a top team in the game and not win, then I mean, they've succeeded on that. They are like the top of the mid-tier teams. They are literally the top of the mid-tier teams. They're better than every other team in the mid-pack. They're better than Carolina, Boston, OpTic, ROKKR, Cloud9, LAG, Vegas, but I wouldn't even call Vegas LAG. I think they're in the bottom tier, but they're better than Cloud9, ROKKR, OpTic, Boston, Carolina. They're the best mid-pack team, and they have potential to upset like the bottom of the top tier, which would be Ultra, and obviously they beat Atlanta FaZe twice. But yeah, they have the potential, but they're just never gonna get to like the top level. Like, I feel like they're just never gonna win, because, you know, eventually this gets to a skill dip. And granted, they lost to Ultra 3-2, but there is a skill dip. Like, when they play LA Thieves, like, they just have no chance at all, you know? And Atlanta FaZe on a good day, I mean, like, you even could have argued in this series, bro. I mean, and this time I gotta say about Atlanta FaZe, like, before I get into like Atlanta FaZe, obviously talking about Miami, but there is no world. I mean, I know teams could take maps off each other. You know, there's certain hardpoint maps that are very consistent, but on a map like Hacienda, losing 250 to 160 to Miami when you're Atlanta FaZe with the expectations that you have and the skill that you have is borderline embarrassing. Like, borderline pathetic, I could actually say. Like, just borderline unacceptable. Like, that is just something that shouldn't be happening. Like, that's a scoreline for maybe like a Skyline or a Vault, like, you know, those types of map. But on a Hacienda is like a skill diff map. There's a lot of traditional rotating, holding, you know, there's a lot of traditional, and you get punished a lot, like, if you make the wrong play, which makes it like a skill diff map. If you take the wrong rotation on P2 and you die, you're spawning out and they're getting that spawn, and now you have to work to try to break it. Like, that's traditional Call of Duty. And if You're losing at probably the most traditional hardpoint map in the game next to ROKKR. This is probably more traditional than ROKKR because there's a lot less hills. And, it's just like this map was actually built for this shit. So it is more normal with spawns and everything. Getting 250 to 160, no matter how good Miami's teamwork is, that's like an unacceptable score line. In my opinion, but that's just me. But in terms of Miami, I mean, they played a lot better, but they have the same thing everyone else has, bro. They need to get better at this control. Like, you could even say their hardpoint's in a good enough place. It could get a bit better. It's not 100% perfect. When they're playing strong teams, they still do struggle in majority of the hardpoints. But it all comes down to control. They need to get better at a map that's not Vault. When they play anything else that's not Vault, it's a scary sight. They don't play Protocol, like, hardly ever. They played Hacienda against Atlanta FaZe. They got DoorDash on that map. All comes down to that control and tightening up the hard point. Because their S&D, I feel like pretty much in S&D, they could honestly fight everybody, to be honest. They can fight everybody. Just comes down to the respawns. That's what they got to tighten up at. And this team in S&D, I felt is a team that was always going to be good at S&D, honestly. But I'm going to see like their control real quick. So they're 2-9 at Hacienda control. Definitely got to get better at that. They're 1-6 at protocol control. They're 8-5 at vault control. So they're 11-20 at control, and they have 8 wins. 8 of their wins are on vault, and this is the whole season. That's just not going to get you to the promised land when you're facing top teams. If you're not good at, and Hacienda and protocol, I feel are more important than vault, because like every team's fucking good at vault. So no matter how good you are, you still have a chance to lose that map. But if you're not good at Hacienda or protocol, you go into a grand final, they're auto losses. That's 2 auto losses. There's 3 controls in a series, and the vault control is not guaranteed, so you could lose just off of controls. So definitely something they got to tighten up is like their control. Like now we're in the business end of the season, so they do need to tighten up with control. If they just get better control and their hard point, they need to, they're gonna fit hard point to beat a lot of teams, but it's an inconsistent hard point where on the wrong day facing like a way better team, it could just not be close just because of like a skill diff. So hard point is still something they need to work on, and obviously maintain the levels of their S&D, but it mainly comes down to control. Mainly it's control. Secondary is touching up on hard point. Yeah, so that's Miami. Not going to go too long at them because I'm already an hour into this. LA Thieves we talked about. We talked about ROKKR. We talked about OpTic. We talked about Ultra. Talked about Surge. I guess this would be the time to talk about... I want to save Atlanta FaZe for last. I'm going to get into Cloud9, and then I'm going to briefly touch over Carolina. I'm going to end with Atlanta FaZe. So Cloud9, I mean, the rumor mill's hidden. They're going to drop Mac for Capsule. Here are my thoughts on this. I think Mac got completely set the fuck up. Like, really, really bad. Unless he's moving to a flex, bro, he's getting... Dude, it better be for attach. I'm sorry. This shit better be for attach. Otherwise, I don't even know. Like, even then, Mac's probably going to have to take... Because there has to be an AR that, like, does, like, more of the dirty work. And it's not really going to be Dante that much, bro. I think... Okay, so here's my opinions on Cloud9. This is where it gets interesting. This is where my hot takes actually kick in. I'm even going to timestamp this so I know where to make a clip of this. I think Dante is not meant to be like the main superstar on a team, because we are seeing in real time what happens when he is. The team is crumbling, because in order for him to play good, half the team has to play bad, and that is not good, and they're not winning. This is way different. I mean, granted, the other superstars in the league are mostly SMGs, and most of your game wins, like games, are basically decided by SMG players. Like over 90% of the time, it's not going to come down to ARs. But in the case of like Scrap, if you look at Scrap, what Scrap did, Scrap was basically like the win condition for Ultra for multiple years on the flex AR role, which is what Dante's on. I'm sorry. But Dante's not meant to be the superstar. I feel like Dante's best role was the role he had in NYSL last year in MW3. I thought that was the perfect role, like being a damage dealer, a utility AR that could slay out and just like be in the mix on the hills, getting kills. I thought that was a great role for Dante. Like, I think Dante, with a lack of objective responsibility, just responsible for mostly getting kills, yeah, it makes his statistics look good, but I think the rest of the team suffers. I don't think he's meant to be the superstar that could just do whatever he wants. I think he is better fit. He talks about systems a lot. So this is the funny thing. When he was having that horrible stage, dropping like a 0.7, going ban for ban with King of Body, and then when they went to like the next stage, and then he started doing good, and they got that post-game interview, which is like his first post-game interview, because like they lost like every fucking game. He started talking about, because like they asked him like, what changed? How come you got better? And he was like, oh yeah, like before our team was running around, doing whatever, but now, you know, like we're playing with more of a system. It's more just about having a system. And the second he said that, I knew exactly what he meant. That system meant Mac gotta stop being so good. You gotta start hopping on these hills more, and I gotta start doing that shit more. Like I think the system he's talking about was just to make him look better, but obviously not like intentionally. But I think he's better off being, I'm not gonna say like a Priesta. Obviously he's way better than fucking Priesta, not even close. But I think he's way better in that role where he's like highly engaged in these maps, in the hill, being that person. He has such good gunny. There's no way he should be like away from the hill getting kills. Like, I feel, and he's not fast enough. He's not like a fast AR. He's not super quick. Like, he's not as fast as everybody else. I think he's better. Like, that NYSL MW3 role, like, granted, I mean, like, they made the grand finals of champs and everything, and granted their whole year was pretty much average, but I like Dante in that role, especially in the second half of the season, when he started to pick it up. I thought that role, that was my favorite Sib of all time. That was my favorite Sib of all time. Granted, he's only been in the league like, I don't know, like 3-4 years. That was my favorite Sib of all time. I thought that was the Skies and Kismet were just not doing good at the time. So even if Hydra and fucking Dante were doing good, I mean, like, they're getting brought down a lot, not gonna lie. No offense to Kismet and Skies, but I think Mac is getting set up the same way Reese Vivid got set up. Granted, he's not having to switch roles, but he was playing just fine. There's no way Mac was like the best player on this team, and then all of a sudden they changed the way they play, and this guy just can't even average over like a 0.9 anymore. There's no way. That's not a coincidence in my eyes. And I hope he's not the one being dropped, but if he is for Capsule, because they're probably going to keep attached. I don't think they're moving to Flex. Maybe they might. I hope they do. I don't think Max should be playing with fucking Dante anymore. I know they're like very close friends, they're very best friends, but I don't think he should be playing with them anymore. Because the way that Dante wants to play and like has to play in order to be good, it just proves to be very detrimental to the growth of Mac and how to get the best out of Mac. I mean, we've seen it in Vanguard. We're seeing it again in real time here. I mean, obviously this was a team. This is like a friendship team. So obviously Mac not playing like all of last year, finally coming back, you know, coming back into an environment where you're friends with everybody. Like, you know, you're playing with like you're playing with like your bestie. Like, you know, like you're playing with fucking people that you're comfortable with. They're a team that came with open arms. Like, obviously you're going to take that. But I think now we're seeing in real time. Yeah, if you want to get the best out of Mac, cannot play with Dante. I don't think this team is for him. I mean, he would be better off. Like, I'm thinking like a team like Purge, Mac, Kenny, and like a good AR, bro. Like, that would be like a good team. But yeah, Dante very fraudulent, and there's no excuses as well. Like, if we pull up like the standings, he got to handpick his team. And honestly, his team on paper, like just by name, is not a bad team. On the season, as a whole to only have 10 wins when everybody projected you to be a top 4 to top 6 team, unacceptable. An absolute flop, an absolute flippity flop disappointment, dog shit, dumpster fire, shitty, that's what that was. And complete disappointment. And for an established organization like Cloud9, and I can't even say, there's a lot of people saying Cloud9 is such an established org and they have such an ass Call of Duty team. Bro, if you look at the history of Cloud9 and Call of Duty, they've had a lot of average teams. I don't think they've ever had a good I don't think they've ever had a top Call of Duty team ever in the history of Call of Duty, ever. I think it's always been average teams, maybe slightly above average, but they've never had a good team oh my god, that's Cloud9, that's the best team in the game, or a top team. I don't think that's ever happened in the history. So kind of it is just history repeating itself, just another average Cloud9 Call of Duty team, to be honest. And yeah, how they weren't able to pull it together with the roster they had, because Crap Mac, Dante attached, every type of role player, perfect role players. Chem was all there. They had the coach, ultimate vibes and everything, skill, chemistry, all that, but they weren't able to put it together. Disappointing. And you got to think there's some qualifier matches they lost. There's at least 5 qualifier matches I think they lost from trolling S&D leads. So if you add those on, they're ahead of OpTic and they're in 8th spot, So it was it's actually a lot closer than you think. They probably should have got 5 more wins and they fucking would have been in 8th, and ROKKR and OpTic could be out realistically. But if you're just not a good team that can clutch up, then that's what's gonna happen. Now with Capsule, I think with Capsule though, Capsule runs that shit down. And Capsule, you could say what we want about him, or you could say what you want about him over the years and the way he plays, but I think this game, just like for Hook, suits Capsule a lot. And Capsule has no problem being the OBJ, high engagement on the hill, that type of player, not taking routes, just more being a frontline player and allowing the other SMG to take routes. So I feel in that sense, Capsule is great for this team because you won't have to worry about a decline. You know what you're going to get. The way he enabled Hook in challengers and was able to just play hill all the time. And he got the gunny, bro. Capsule got gunny on him. And he can make plays. Good at S&D. There's a lot of good things that Capsule brings to this game. This game is making a lot of players that you would question, maybe in a game like MW3, MW2, and, etc. Those games would make them question a bit more because those games are a bit more methodical. But, in this game, these games are suited for, the Hooks and the Capsules and the Neptunes. The way the other games, weren't as much. They're able to have takeover ability and really make an impact on their team. So I think Capsule's a good pickup. Just don't know who it's for yet. We're gonna find out. I'm assuming it's for Mac because that's what I was hearing. But I don't really want to see Mac and Dante as an AR duo because Mac's still gonna have to do the dirty work with the sub. I think that just may be. But Attach isn't really doing anything anyway. So fuck, I would do it. I would just fucking get Attach out of there and just fucking move Mac to flex and just do SMG. I don't like it, but it would be better because I don't think Attach would be any better with fucking Capsule on this team. I just don't think this game's meant for him. And it's crazy to me. It's always been crazy to me how Attach used to be a fast, in-your-face SMG, and all of a sudden he's just slow AR, hard baiting AR. He can't bait anyone this year, so he just can't play good if he's not fucking hard baiting. And now he just can't play fast. He just went from the super fast sub to a slow AR and he can't get fast again. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that. And it's not the same as Insight, where Insight's slow and has completely low engagements, but you know what he's doing and you know how it's making the team better, making the team win. This is a complete opposite. Now I'm about to go on fucking Insight. I want to see Insight's engagement per 10, probably super low. Insight's a 45. That has to be the lowest in the league, I'm not gonna lie. And even Merc, Merc's engagement per 10 was literally the exact same as Insight's, and everyone's calling Insight slow. Crazy. But yeah, but that's Cloud9. They're obviously not gonna make champs. I have no faith, even though they're 10 points right behind ROKKR, so they're basically like 1 win away from ROKKR. So they're basically technically in the race, but I don't think they're gonna make it because they got a hard fucking schedule, bro. Like, take a look at Cloud9's schedule right here. Cloud9 got, dude, they got Vegas, which is all right, but then it's Ultra, FaZe, Miami, LAT. Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done. Ultra, FaZe, Miami, LA Thieves. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Basically playing like the fucking top 4, top 5 teams in the game there. You're chalked at that point. You're fucked. Yeah, so they're not making champs, so close that tab. Close that tab for sure. And then we're gonna, so we're not doing Vegas. We did Vancouver, we did Ultra, we did OpTic, we did ROKKR, we did Miami, did LA Thieves, LAG not touching, Cloud9, Royal Ravens. Just real quick, I mean, obviously they had a bad showing, but I know they're a better team, and I'm assuming like these weeks that they finally have to scrim together, they're gonna show improvements. I'm expecting a lot out of Dylan Rex, to be honest. I'm expecting a lot out of him. Please don't make that YouTube fucking video I made on you wrong. Please, 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 please. And I'm just not gonna judge him until I see him. I just have to like see him play. I just think they just like are in a dip, but they're a way better team than what has been happening lately. I feel they're just going through some things. If I did have to say anything, Slasher, bro, you gotta be a little bit more uplifting, bro. He just looks depressed every single time. He looks like he's like having an aura that like makes it uncomfortable for like everyone else. Like, just like shit. I mean, obviously like Gwen and like TJ don't care, but they need to do their best to enable Dylan Rex. They need to get Dylan Rex in that mix with the rest of the team. They need to make him feel at home, and you'll probably get the best version of Carolina. I still have high hopes for Carolina. I'm expecting big things. Not to win a major, but Carolina should be up there and like that, like deep on Sunday, maybe Sunday if the cards in the bracket goes right, but should be making Saturdays. That's the bare minimum expectation for Carolina, in my opinion. They should be on that level. Like, they have a good core 3, and now they got a good 4th that has a high ceiling. He will be a start AR player in the future, mark my words. But yeah, as for now, I mean, I'm just gonna like, I'm not even gonna like judge that too hard, and this podcast is going too long, so that's why I'm kind of speeding it up. But not only much to say about Carolina, but I have high hopes. That's all I'm gonna say. But let me see their schedule. I mean, like, they already made fucking champs. But I will say, so they face Ultra, Boston, OpTic, ROKKR, Miami. So pretty good, like, very good test of competition there. Very good test of competition. If Dylan Rex does not do good in these games, then, I mean, fuck. I don't know what to say, because we're giving him, or we're trying to give him a grace period because he played LA Thieves twice. But even though you're playing LA Thieves twice, like, the way I view it is like, yeah, they're the best team in the game. They have a fucking system. You're walking right into a new team. You have to get adapted to their system. I know all that stuff's still true. But, you know, it's pros playing pros. You guys all play the same exact game every day, the exact same one, you know, you still got to shoot back. Don't matter who you're playing. Like, obviously, like, in sports, you know, there's always, like, the bottom team. Like, oh, we're playing Man City. If I'm Ipswich Town, I'm playing Man City. Oh, I guess I'm just going to get fucking 5-0 today. You know, I know there's situations like that, but Carolina's, like, not, like, they're not, like, an LAG or Vegas Falcons. They're a good mid-pack team. And I know there's a matchup thing, but they should be shooting back more. I can't really completely use that as an excuse every single time. Oh, we're just playing LA Thieves. Fuck, we're just going to do bad. I don't really like that vibe. Like, that's a mentality that's got to change. Like, I don't like that at all. Oh, we're playing a team, so it's okay if we do bad. I've never liked that mentality ever. You guys are all playing the exact same game. I know some players are just more talented than others. I know it's a thing. And some teams are just way better than others, like, skill-wise, and they've been a team the whole time. I get it. Still got to shoot your gun back, though. But these aren't bad. Like, 43 and 54, it's, like, not super bad, but I'm hoping next time they actually put up a better fight, though, like against LAT, not gonna lie. Wait, so that's the LAN one. Let me see the qualifier match. And just to think, if they beat LA Thieves, like they would have, they wouldn't have gone on the bracket is hilarious to me. Carolina also has to get fucking better control. I actually forgot about that. Like their hardpoint and S&D, hardpoint is pretty inconsistent, but S&D, I'm gonna assume like they're just gonna get better just with the players that they have. But control, a lot of these mid-pack teams, man, they just need to get better control. Like I remember they showed a graphic for like the top control teams in the game, and LAT and FaZe are the only teams with single-digit control losses on the season. Everybody else is just like you know, everyone else's fucking control record is just like ass, you know, just ass, That's all I could say. Wish I could have the actual record here. Am I able to pull this up? That's the control win percentage, but I want like control like actual like record. But yeah, but anyways, but let me just pop Carolina's control real quick. So there's 6-6 protocol control, 4-5 Hossie, 6-7 Vault. So there's 16-18. Not completely bad, but could get better. They're 25-17 at S&D, 27-28 hardpoint. So just comes down to a respawn thing. If they get that control good, because control going to every series that they play, I'm always like, ooh, you know, they could win, they could lose. They need to get it more on like the side of them being a favorable team. And now they have players that could all get kills, and Slasher brings organized Call of Duty, hopefully. I mean, not as organized as Ultra. I think Ultra has the most organized Call of Duty in the whole league. Most organized hardpoint in the whole league, my bad. But Carolina, I mean, just have to get way better at the respawns, mostly control. Got to touch up on the hardpoint. Can't be getting DoorDash by LA Thieves every single time you play him. Got to do a little bit better. So I will leave it at that. And then we're going to end off the podcast talking about Atlanta FaZe. And I mean, the problem is simple. And I was going to make a YouTube video about it, but then I opted not to. I'm just going to like wait to see if it improved. But like, even then, I mean, I'm not really sure. But this hardpoint fucking downfall is something that needs to be studied, because I've had conversations with people in like my live streams and my chats, my comments before over the years. Like I've never, like FaZe is 40-23 at hardpoint right now. They're 40-23, which is obviously like a top record. I mean, if we go into statistics, we'll pull up like the team leaderboards. So hardpoint stats, they are right beside LAT in hardpoint win percentage. LAT has a 68.4% win percentage. Atlanta FaZe has a 63.5, so just 5% less. And LA Thieves has a hardpoint KD of 1.06, FaZe is of 1.04. Like, they're close in hardpoint, you know? They're very close in hardpoint. I mean, recently, I mean, just overall, I feel like Atlanta FaZe's hardpoint over the years has been way too inconsistent. It should not be this inconsistent for a team like this good ever, especially, dude, it just should never be this way. And it's been like this for years in every Vanguard, MW2, MW3, like the first half, and then like sort of, I guess they picked up in the second half. But every year it seems to be like just an inconsistent thing. And no matter what the game is, it shouldn't even matter, because if other teams are able to figure it out, there's no way you should not be able to figure it out. And should I really be complaining when they have a 40-23 record? They're number 2 in the league in hardpoint. No, I should not. But this dive, and I'm not sure if it's due to them trying to get not only like their S&D good again, because they took away 2 of their best S&D maps and they had to get better at dealership and Hacienda. Or I mean, not get better at, but get good at dealership because it can be getting played a lot, and get good at Hacienda because they like never played it. I'm not sure if a lot of focus went to that, and then like trying to get their protocol control back up because it took a little bit of a slant, but they're 14-4 on it, which makes it look like there's not a slant on it. But yeah, they're a hard point, man. There's no way they should be losing as many hard points as they lost. Like they're 40-23, and this weekend, like they lost like how many? They lost 2 to Miami. They lost 1 to Vancouver. Actually, lost 2 to Vancouver. No, lost 1 to Vancouver. Lost 1 to Vancouver, and then that was it. I think that was it. Let me see. They lost 2 to Miami. They 3-0'd OpTic, 3-0 Cloud9. Yeah, so like they lost like 3. So 2-to-1 ratio in hardpoint, which is actually like pretty good. I actually want to see LAT's fucking record now. Hold on, let me pull up LAT's record. And they actually do play LAT. Dude, they play Vancouver and LAT back to back. They play the top 2 teams, which is crazy. So LAT has a 39-18. So they're basically around like the exact same record, which is crazy. It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think that a FaZe like slight like decline is still way better than most everyone else in the league. It's actually insane. Oh, okay, they do have double digit control. I forgot that stat they showed on the stream was like in like the stage only. But Atlanta FaZe, bro, they need to get back to basics when it comes to their hardpoint. Their hardpoint was in a good predicament, and even going into their listenings, everything was good, but just it was just small mistakes on rotations that were costing them, especially on Hacienda. The amount of times they played Hacienda like this event was crazy. They played against Vancouver, they played against Miami, they played against OpTic, I believe, or did they? They played against Cloud9 as well. Dude, they played it a lot. Sure, I just pulled this up. Holy cow. I'm actually forgetting. So against Cloud9, I forgot what they played against Cloud9. Like, the game was literally so boring. Yeah, okay, so they played Hacienda, they smoked them. And then they lost it to Vancouver. And then against OpTic, they played it again, and they smoked OpTic. So they smoked Cloud9, they smoked OpTic, then they lost to Miami and Vancouver on the map. So clearly against, like, the better teams, they struggled on the map. And I think when it came to the better teams, it came down to those P2s, man. Those P2s were looking rusty, man. And the P2 in this game could punish the fuck out of you. It's something that could honestly be very inconsistent. Honestly, I'm even surprised that they play Hasi like so much, but it's because everyone just keeps banning protocol on them. They don't get a chance to play it, and now they're not going to get a chance to play it anymore because that was out of the rotation, which is interesting now because now they bring back Rewind, and Atlanta FaZe is 1-0 on it. I'm pretty sure they lost that map before. No, I think the only time they played it was LAT, and like they beat them. I know they lost them at the LAT. It actually may have been at Kayson's tourney, actually. I think it was at Kayson's tourney they lost it. So FaZe's only hardpoint win on Rewind is against LAT, which is interesting. That's very interesting. They only played it once. So now taking away their best hardpoint, which they never got a chance to play because no one was fucking allowing them to play it anymore. So now they just like don't have to play it anymore. So they've been playing Hasi a lot. They're 9-8 at Hasi. They're pretty good at red card. They may have to step it up when they're going against a team like LAT because that's like seems to be like the final boss of teams at that map. And even Ultra now. Ultra's looking a lot scary. Ultra might challenge on that map, to be honest. But with FaZe is very hit or miss. It all comes down to like the fundamentals of hardpoint. That's all it comes down to. Being disciplined on rotation, working together on rotation. There's way too many individual stuff I saw. Probably gonna put into a YouTube video sometime over like the weekend. All my content for the weekday is done. So over the weekend, if it continues in like the Vancouver series, I am gonna make a video about it from like the major. But all came down to those P2 rotations. I mean, like they just weren't prioritizing it. Like on P1, they would just keep going for P1. And then the other team would just go, like, oh, fuck. And there'd be like a BZ on occasion going on like a solo play to try to flip spawns. But, bro, you need help on that Hacienda P2 rotation. You need more than one person. That is a two-man minimum job. But they would just keep fucking hitting the top, making one person go. That person would just get caught out and die. And, like, the P2s basically cost them on Hacienda. P1, I would say they would have to work on because, I mean, a lot of times they're on, like, the bad side. And they just have a hard time trying to balance keeping them off P1, but also playing for P2. I know it's a very hard thing to do, but a team of this caliber should have it fucking figured out by now, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. They need to find a balance at not allowing a team to get so much P1 time, because when they see the team getting too much P1 time, they start to tweak, and then they lose focus on the P2 roto to try to get them off P1. Sometimes they'll even just, like, throw their fucking... They just throw away like fucking lives to get them off P1, then they'll spawn back at 10 or fucking Boathouse, and then they just don't have the roto anymore. but they need to work together on these rotations together. And when it comes to holding, they need to be able to read pressure. They don't read pressure. They don't know where people are coming from. A lot of times people are watching something they shouldn't be watching, or not helping an area that should need help. They need to find the info fast on these P2s and know where people are coming from instantly. But that's like a skill that takes a while to, because even myself playing it in 8s and like ranked, obviously, like sometimes the timings can be so weird. You don't know if they're gonna come from fence. Sometimes you don't know if they're gonna come from mid, and like sometimes it's a hard thing to watch, especially when like you spawn in the back and you have no info on anything. That's why it's important to have like, I mean, I actually just talk about like the fucking actual YouTube video. I'm just yapping about it. But FaZe, I mean, they're in a good spot. Their S&D has gone way better. I mean, they don't play rewind. They're just not going to play that map. They're just going to put their foot down, which means they have to play red card, proto, Hossie, and dealership. I mean, interesting. They're like, FaZe strikes me as a team that should be good. Like, a dealership should be their map. I mean, they had some unfortunate losses at that map, but dealership reminds me of a smaller version of Rio. Like the exact same like brightness and the exact same colors, the exact same. It's like a parking lot with cars, you know, like shortcuts, like, you know, that's exactly like Rio. So I'm shocked that they're not as good as. I mean, they'll get way better at that map. I'm sure they will. And as opposed to Hardpoint, they play Hossie way too much. I think they should start playing Rewind since it's back in. They start playing Rewind, get good at that. They should be banning Hossie now, because now everyone's just playing that map. They should be playing Red Card, Rewind, Skyline, Vault. Actually, there's a lot of teams good at Skyline and Vault. And that's another thing. A map like Skyline, like these close range maps where it's a lot of gunny and just close and the spawns are very predictable. Like the spawns on Skyline are very predictable. Atlanta FaZe should be good at that map. Like they beat LAT'd it twice, like back near the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden, like I guess it just like fell off a cliff. They haven't played it that much. I think Skyline's a map they need to start playing again. Like they should not have any. They should be banning fucking Vault, because that's the map they just like cannot seem to get together with like the P4 Roto. I think they should chalk Vault. That should be their hardpoint auto veto. And I know it's not good to have auto vetoes, but even when it comes to the grand finals, you could have an S&D and a hardpoint auto veto. It's just the controls that are like iffy for the auto vetoes. But if you have one and you're good at all four, and I mean, especially in the landscape of the CDL right now with Miami, Ultra, Boston, OpTic, everyone except for LAT. LAT's not that good at map. So, I mean, maybe that might be something you have to consider playing against them, because they just don't play it anymore. But majority of the teams are good at Vault Hardpoint. So if you auto ban that map and make them play the other ones, I mean, should be in a better position. And that Rewind should be a good map for Atlanta FaZe now. Like, it should be. I mean, I know when they played against other teams, I like the Kason tourney is a bit inconsistent. That's like the only other time, and like in the preseason as well. Proved to be very inconsistent, but I mean, that should be a map that they're good at. I know they don't play for S&D, but they got to get good at for Hardpoint. Otherwise, they got to play Vault, which is very scary. I think they'll get a lot more consistent results on Rewind. I think MC and Draza in like the streets on the P4 and the P3 will do wonders. And on the P2 Roto, I remember them playing that map. That game against LAT, guys, go watch that breakdown video. I'll even actually pull it up right now. Gosh, should I pull this up? Yeah, I'll just pull it up right now. This breakdown video, and now I could actually start using this one again, dude. I can start using it again, because this Rewind Hardpoint was the best Rewind Hardpoint I've ever seen. This video right here, okay, this video right here is so good. Go watch this video. This is the best Rewind Hardpoint you'll ever see all year. And I mean, if Atlanta FaZe is able to play this way against every team, then they should be in a very good position, and they'll smoke a lot of. This could be like their new. They should be their new protocol. Like if every team's banning protocol against you, this should be the new map they're now banning against you. But you still got to get good at the other ones too. Like I just look at a team like FaZe, they should be bad at Skyline or Vault. Like those maps are small and they're simple, and the spawns are very predictable. These should be maps they're good at, but for some reason, this far into the game, they can't grasp it. Bro, I will offer my services for free to get these teams better at these maps. Like OpTic and FaZe, bro, I will literally send you hours of VOD of things you could do fucking better with these maps. But obviously, I'm not going to put it all into YouTube. I will do it for free if you reach out. I swear to God, like, these maps should not be hard for you guys to play. And Skyline and Vault should not be hard for you guys to play. But they're going to up a red card. They don't have to worry about red card. Proto, they're not playing Proto anymore. It's gone. Probably not going to come back for Hardpoint. And then Hacienda, I mean, they're good enough at it against like the mid pack, but then against the better teams that are way tighter on P2 and even on P3s, like their P3s looked a lot worse this weekend, which is uncharacteristic of how it was before, which just goes to show you like the highs and lows of just Hardpoint in general. Yeah, Atlanta FaZe, this Hardpoint that they're playing, unacceptable. But I look at their overall record of 40-23, I'm like, compared to most of the other teams, most of the teams were like 18-18, you know, like 20-26, you know, they're way ahead of the hardpoint curve. But this team should never be bad at hardpoint. This has been a thing for years and years. This team should never be bad at hardpoint. Hardpoint should be an automatic 1-0 for them in series. The fact that these games are getting close, I know it's a different game. This game is a lot more inconsistent, the spawns and everything. Just this game, like the skill diff is a lot shorter. The skill gap, this game makes the skill gap way lower, like tremendously low. Like if they were trying to make this game to make fucking casual players way better, and it shows. Everything from aim assist to just the way the maps are. This game was meant for, like, you know, that skill gap like to go down. But even then, you know, the cream should always still rise to the crop. And Atlanta FaZe, I mean, their S&D and controller are in a good enough position. If they get the hardpoint back up, I mean, no one's going to touch them. It literally comes down to hardpoint. But then I'm worried their hardpoint's going to get good, and then the other thing is going to regress. So they need to find the balance. They need to get good. Like, they should not be bad at Skyline hardpoint. They should be good at Skyline, red card, Hasi. And then, like, the Vault, figure it out. Obviously, Rewind's back. They should be good at Rewind. They should be good at 4 out of 5 of these maps. Like, bare minimum. But yeah, I think I yapped for enough. Yeah, I probably could have yapped for, dude, I could do 3-hour podcasts. I'm not even kidding. If my voice was like better, I would be able to do it. Or just in general, I could yap for 3 hours. Maybe I should do like some like extra, like behind the scenes, like for members only, just me talking Call of Duty for like an extra hour, because I know a lot of people are interested in that stuff. But guys, join the Discord, Burritos Bowl. It's on the screen. Join the Discord. People for 8s, people for ranked, updates on everything, like if I'm going live, what I'm doing, if you need to know, because like a lot of people ask me on YouTube, but then I'm like, I post it on Discord. They're like, oh, I'm not on Discord. Go follow the Discord. If you're interested in extra analysis, breakdowns, join the Burito Takeover, the best YouTube membership on all of YouTube in the world. I'm not even kidding. Like fucking badges, emotes, and just extra content. I'm the only, extra content. Nobody else does that shit. I do that shit. And then obviously Borito Talk, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Yeah, this will be another episode, and I will probably, I'm going to start doing recaps of like the weekend, or maybe if it's like a long day of Call of Duty and there's a lot to talk about, I'll be doing short recaps for members only, because that's something I actually want to start doing, is just like having like some brief recaps of the games, because I know a lot of people don't watch the games and they would like to know what is going on, but they don't want like an hour. So maybe I might do like 20 minutes taking them through the games, things that they missed. Very interesting. So a lot of interesting extra content for Burito Takeover members. Join the YouTube membership, all that good stuff. But guys, it's been another episode of the Burito Talk. Like, comment, subscribe, share this podcast with a friend. And I was actually gonna say, I have a giveaway coming. Okay, I have a giveaway coming. But more info on that later. So yeah, with that being said, this has been Burrito. Bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time.